Good morning. This is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you had a pleasant evening and that your day is going fabulous. Today is Monday, and I believe it's the 13th. I don't tend to keep track of the days anymore because my husband's schedule has become very confusing to me. But that being said, he is home with me today, so if you hear any noise in the background, it's just him helping to work on a chicken run that we have. It's a temporary chicken run for the baby chicks, and then later we'll have a bigger run later, but he's also going to be starting our chicken coop. So lots of busy things here on our little quarter-acre plot. What I wanted to address today is something that I read, and I'm sure other people have read this story. Is it true? I don't know, but it does make you stop and think, where do we place our value in our life, in our material possessions? Where do they belong? And a lot of people don't stop and think that we can make all kinds of money and do all this wonderful stuff, and for what glory? For our own, or is it for God's? Now, everybody's perspective is very different. I do believe that we need to save money for retirement, or like for myself, I'm saving some money for some things that I would like to get. Sadly, the chicken coop comes first, but there's some things that we're trying to budget in, and so that's how we work. So money is important because the future, even expenses that we see in the very near future as well as long-term future, and also immediate needs. And so sometimes we need to stop and think, where are our priorities? So this story, I read it before my husband got home last night, and then I read it to him. And it's funny. Yes, it's funny, but it should make us all think about, what are our material possessions and how do we value them? So the title is "A Man Demands His Wife to Bury Him with All His Money. She Has a Genius Solution." So I'm going to read it. And it's all about greed, if you think about it. So greed is certainly part of the human condition. Whether it shows up in small ways or large, we all know what it's like to struggle with the sin of gluttony. Ultimately, however, you can't take money with you when you die, or any other material possessions for that matter. So it's better to use your finances for good while you're here on earth. One man, however, didn't understand this concept. He had an odd request at his funeral, but luckily his wife was able to outsmart him in the end. Whether this story is true or not, it's gone viral on the internet. It's no wonder so many people wanted to share this hilarious, important story. Now more than ever, it seems we need to be reminded that we can't take our money to the grave with us. This story is about a modern day Scrooge. He worked hard all his life, and by the way, that's very commendable, and refused to spend his money on anything but what was necessary for himself to survive. He counted every penny with the goal of growing his savings. He even went so far as to express to his wife he wanted to be buried with his money because he loved it more than anything in the world. I don't know how I would respond if my husband said that, but then again, he doesn't have a lot of money. So maybe that's why I can giggle at this. Before he passed away, he said to his wife, "Listen up. When I die, I want you to put all of my hard-earned money into the casket with me before I'm buried. Wherever I end up in the afterlife, I want to take my money with me." Sorry. God's roads are paved with gold. I'm not sure how money's going to withstand the fires of hell, but whatever. But maybe there's another place. His wife, being kind-hearted, the kind-hearted woman that she was, she wanted to respect her husband's wishes. However, hearing her husband's most selfish request must have hurt her. I know it would have hurt me. Nevertheless, the man guilted his wife into promising him he would leave this life with his money in hand. When the woman's husband eventually died, the decision to honor his request was difficult on multiple levels. Not only was it hard for her to realize her husband was so selfish, I would think that she would have already known this, but maybe not, but the woman now lived on a fixed income. She could have certainly used his money to help herself and those around her, but the promise she made her husband weighed heavy on her heart. This wise woman came up with a clever plan to make everyone happy. The day of the funeral came, and the woman was in the front row being consoled by her best friend. At the end of the ceremony, the widow, dressed in black, stood and said, "Wait a minute." Now came the moment of truth. Would she obey her husband's wishes? Her best friend watched in disbelief as the widow carried out her promise. The woman knew she couldn't live with the guilt of breaking the promise to her husband. She clutched a shoebox tightly in her hands and finally placed it in the casket with her husband's body right before it was taken away. Her friend had seen enough and needed to know what decision was made. She said to the woman, "I hope you didn't put that money in there with that selfish man." The loyal widow smiled and responded, "Yes, I promised him I would. I'm a good Christian, and I cannot tell a lie. I promised him that I would put that money in the casket with him." Horrified, the friend asked, "You actually put every cent of his money in the casket with him?" "I sure did," answered the widow. "I got it all together, put it in my account, and I wrote him a check." Now, I find it hilarious. I think I've heard this story before, so maybe some of you have heard it before as well. But it does stop to make you wonder about how we value material things in life. And remember that money is a material thing. We work hard to earn it. We work hard to try to save for our resources, for our future, for whatever things that we're saving up for, whether it's small or large. That's what it's a bartering system. It's a method of trade. But who thinks that they're going to be taking physical money to wherever their destination is after this life on earth? It's kind of confusing why somebody would think that. So I do know that, seriously, my husband won't get much if he demanded that. But you know what? My husband doesn't treat me like that either. I don't think he would ever ask that of me. I might give him the Monopoly money, but that being said, have we all thought about how we treasure our belongings or how we treasure our money? Now, I do not believe that God requires us to live in a impoverished state. If we've worked hard and we are able to acquire nice things, God doesn't frown upon that. God frowns upon the selfish heart in how we do stuff. Some of us will need to take care of or help out our children. People, are struggling, so their priorities are their rent, their food, and things like that. And then there's people that do have extra money. And the one thing I want to point out, it's not just wealthy people that could be selfish. It's also the people who say, well, they have money and they should do this. First of all, that is not your decision. That is theirs. And you have no idea how they spend their resources. So I share that because I hear a lot of people saying, well, they should do that. And it doesn't come across as nicely as I just said it. And it's very similar to when I was running my sewing business. People would give me ideas of how I could donate my skills, but never given me work to do. When we have resources, whether it's a talent, financial means, or skills, whatever it may be, That's an individual choice on how we give back. Even in churches and stuff, I directed a children's choir. I never got paid for that. I put a lot of hours into it because it was on my heart to do that. And that's what I'm getting at, is we shouldn't expect people to do what we deem is important for them to do, because you're basically saying you need to do that while you sit there and do nothing. And but I'm just bringing that around because it's not just the wealthy man who wants money in his casket. It's also the people who demand or expect or complain that other people with, whether resources, skills, or talents and such, should do things according to their value system, not the individual who has those skills. So I'm not here to judge anybody. I have to watch my own thoughts as well. But it's just something that the story is funny. I still think it's rather comical. But when we stop and think about what it means, we can still laugh. But it's kind of something to reflect upon. Look in the mirror and say, how can I be a better person when it comes to where I stand? Am I a giving person? And whether somebody has money or not, but if they give their whole being in their job, I know that I have some local people that I obtain services from. They give more than the dollar worth that I have to pay them for their service. And it's because they care about what they're giving. And that says a lot. And those are the type of people we should be looking for working with or hiring for, because the people that give from their hearts, they're a gift, they're a treasure. And so I hope you enjoyed the little giggle. I hope that you have your checkbook ready if you have somebody who is selfish like that. But I also pray that you don't have somebody selfish or in your life that is selfish that way, because that's a very sad way to be, and maybe an opportunity to have a discussion. Yeah, laugh a little. My husband and I did laugh at it. But like I said, he would never do that to me. And if he did, I would write him a check. I don't know what he'd get, $50? I don't know. But anyways, I hope you have a beautiful day. It truly is gorgeous here. I don't know if you hear the birds and stuff. And I look forward to something that we're going to do this afternoon. I may, no, I'm not going to tell you. I look forward to sharing some things that we're going to be doing later. But anyways, have a blessed day, and may God bless you. And before I go, if you haven't already subscribed, I hope that you do. If you like this segment, I hope that you thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Now see, I can't talk this morning. I take with me to my grave my vocabulary the brain fog stuff here. But if you haven't thumbed up and you want to, please do share. And if you want, please comment. It helps build my presence on this channel. Have a blessing. See, I can't talk today. Have a wonderful day. Love to all.